Welcome back to G Fun Facts Online, the podcast where we dive deep into the most fascinating facts shaping our world. Today, we're plugging into something that's likely in your pocket or on your desk right now: the incredible, ever-expanding app economy. You might think you know apps, but the sheer scale of this digital universe in 2024 will blow your mind. We're talking trillions of dollars, mind-bending innovation, and trends that are redefining how we live, work, and play. So buckle up, because the numbers and stories we're about to explore are truly staggering. Let's start with a number that's hard to even comprehend. In 2024, the app economy isn't just thriving, it's a colossal giant. Just look at Apple's App Store ecosystem. It facilitated an absolutely groundbreaking $1.3 trillion in developer billings and sales globally throughout the year. Yes, you heard that right, 1.3 trillion. Now, what does that huge number actually mean? Well, over $1 trillion of that was from selling physical goods and services. Think your online food delivery, your grocery orders, all happening through apps. Then, about $131 billion came from digital goods and services. Your favorite games, those cool photo editing apps. And another $150 billion? That's from in-app advertising. What's super interesting is Apple reported that for over 90% of these billings and sales, especially for physical goods, developers paid no commission to Apple. But what about what we, the consumers, are directly spending on app stores? The figures are still massive. Across both Apple's App Store and Google Play, global consumer spending on mobile apps hit $127 billion in 2024. That's a solid 15.7% jump from the year before. Apple's platform really powered this growth, with spending there leaping by 24%, while Google Play saw a tiny dip. If we split the revenue, Apple's App Store raked in an estimated $103.4 billion, compared to Google Play's $46.7 billion. Some reports even push worldwide in-app purchase revenue to $150 billion in 2024, up 12.5%. Just the last 3 months of 2024 alone saw nearly $40 billion in in-app purchases. Projections? Some say the overall mobile app revenue was set to hit $935 billion by 2024. Other analyses value the global app economy at around $409 billion in 2024, rocketing to nearly $875 billion by 2031. And yet another says the market was $289 billion in 2024 and will explode to over $1.1 trillion by 2034. Why the different numbers? It often just depends on what slice of this massive pie they're measuring. So with all this money flowing, what does it mean for the brilliant minds behind the apps? The developers? It means significant earnings. In the US alone, Apple's App Store helped developers make $406 billion in billings and sales in 2024. That's a threefold increase since just 2019. Imagine that growth. This breaks down into $277 billion from physical goods and services, $75 billion from in-app ads, and $53 billion from digital goodies. And here's a cool fact for the up-and-comers. Small developers on Apple's platform, those earning less than $1 million a year, saw their earnings jump by an amazing 76% between 2021 and 2024. Naturally, with such a booming market, mobile app developer salaries in the US are looking pretty good. We're talking an average annual salary from $80,000 to $150,000, depending on experience. Some sources average it around $99,000 to $121,000. Get into specialized roles, and the numbers climb even higher. Senior iOS developers can see between $120,000 and $160,000, Android architects between $110,000 and $150,000, and mobile DevOps engineers can pull in $130,000 to $170,000 a year. Glassdoor reported the average iOS developer salary at $132,000 by November 2024. To help the smaller players, both Apple and Google have small business programs. These cut the usual 15 to 30% commission on app sales and in-app purchases down to 15% for developers earning up to $1 million annually. That's a huge boost, letting them reinvest more into creating even better apps. All right, let's dive into the nitty-gritty. What were the biggest trends shaping the app market in 2024? It's a fascinating landscape. First up, download dynamics. Interestingly, 2024 saw a bit of a slowdown in overall app downloads. It suggests the market might be getting a little saturated, and we users are becoming pickier about what we install. Google Play still led with a massive 107.2 billion downloads compared to the App Store's 41.3 billion. Android holds the lion's share of total installations, around 72%. This download dip was noted across reports, with one indicating a 2.3% global drop to 110 billion downloads. Next, monetization mastery. How are apps making money? In-app purchases, IAPs, are still king. Revenue here jumped 12.5% year-over-year, hitting $150 billion. Non-gaming apps, in particular, saw their IAP revenue surge nearly 20%, with travel and shopping apps leading that charge with over 20% growth each. In the last quarter of 2024, IAP revenue in non-game apps climbed an incredible 28.2% to $19.2 billion, almost catching up to games. The total IAP market was valued at over $208 billion in 2024 and is set to grow even more. Then there's the subscription surge. We're all familiar with these monthly or annual payments for continuous access or features. They're super popular, giving developers a steady income and users ongoing value. Back in 2023, in-app subscriptions alone generated $13.8 billion, a trend that's definitely still climbing. And what about advertising? After a bit of a slump, mobile ad spend bounced back in 2024, growing 5% to hit $65 billion globally, not counting China. This growth was mostly driven by non-gaming apps, which saw an 8% increase in ad spend, while gaming app ad spend actually fell by 7%. Finance apps were big spenders here, with a massive 61% year-over-year increase, thanks to crypto and fintech. Travel app ad spend also rose by 20%. Finally, marketers got smarter with owned media and deep linking. Conversions from channels they own, like their websites or email lists, climbed 64%, largely thanks to clever use of deep linking, those links that take you straight into a specific part of an app to make our user experience smoother. Now, what were the hot app categories in 2024? Gaming still holds the biggest market share at 41%. But non-gaming apps are really driving growth in consumer spending and IAP revenue. Mobile game IAP revenue saw a modest 2.6% growth in late 2024, reaching $20.2 billion, which shows it's stabilizing after some shaky times. We saw some serious growth verticals. Health and fitness apps are booming as we all become more health conscious and use wearable tech. Education and e-learning apps also surged with the rise of remote learning. Fintech and crypto apps showed strong growth, especially in how much they spent on ads to get new users. And travel apps are making a big comeback, nearly hitting pre-pandemic activity levels. The rise of short video and creator economy apps is undeniable. Apps like TikTok saw the highest year-over-year growth in both how much we spent on them and how much time we spent watching. TikTok itself earned a whopping $2.5 billion in 2024. Social media apps are also getting creative beyond ads, with in-app purchases on these platforms growing 27.5% in 2024 to hit $13 billion. The creator economy is really innovating how money is made on these apps, and some other strong performers? Categories like productivity, photo and video, entertainment, and utilities all saw consumer spending grow by at least 20% year-over-year in the second quarter of 2024. But perhaps the biggest trend of all is the AI revolution in apps. Artificial intelligence is literally reshaping the app economy. It's being used to make our experiences more personal, predict what we might want, automate development, analyze mountains of data, and even improve app security. Think about it. AI is streamlining app development with automated testing and can suggest improvements based on our feedback. In marketing, AI helps figure out market trends and our behavior for better strategies. Personalization is huge here. It's estimated that over 2 billion app downloads in 2024 will have some kind of generative AI built in. We're seeing a whole new AI app economy emerge, though it's still figuring out business models. Some futurists even think advanced AI agents might one day do tasks for us directly, reducing our need for so many individual apps. That's a wild thought. And it's not just big companies. Small businesses are playing a massive role in bringing AI innovations to apps. Finally, a quick look at regional highlights. The Asia-Pacific region dominated the global mobile app market in 2024, holding the largest market share at 33%. Within Apple's $1.3 trillion App Store economy, China accounted for $539 billion, the US for $406 billion, and Europe for $148 billion in 2024. The Middle East, especially countries like the UAE, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and Egypt, showed incredible growth, with over a 30% jump in mobile app installs for non-gaming apps. Finance and generative AI apps were big favorites there. So with all this activity, there are some practical things for developers to think about, like App Store commissions. Both Apple's App Store and Google Play typically charge a standard commission of 15% to 30% on paid apps and in-app purchases. These fees help pay for things like secure payment processing, app hosting, and developer tools. But, as we mentioned earlier, Apple highlighted that over 90% of that $1.3 trillion in billings and sales from its App Store in 2024 happened without Apple taking any commission. This is mostly for physical goods and services, where apps are just the middleman, and for apps that only make money through ads. Things are also changing due to regulations. For example, the Digital Markets Act in the European Union led Apple to introduce new business terms for developers in the EU in 2024. These include options for alternative app stores, different payment choices, and a revised commission structure that even adds a core technology fee for apps with a huge number of installs, even if they don't use Apple's payment systems or App Store. So the landscape is always evolving. So what's next for the app economy? Despite challenges like market saturation and changing privacy rules, the future looks bright. User acquisition ad spend and overall revenue were up in 2024, especially for non-gaming apps, and that trend is expected to continue. The global mobile application market is projected for some serious growth over the next decade. Artificial intelligence will undoubtedly be a massive driver of future innovation. We'll see it used even more in creating content, measuring success, and optimizing everything. Monetization strategies will keep getting smarter, with in-app purchases and subscriptions leading the way. In fact, some experts think consumer spending in non-game apps could actually overtake spending in games as early as 2025. As the market matures, the focus will increasingly be on quality, fantastic user experience, and truly innovative solutions that meet our needs. The developers who can adapt to new tech, understand our shifting behaviors, and use data effectively are the ones who will find success in this dynamic, ever-expanding, trillion-dollar app economy. And that's a wrap on our deep dive into the colossal app economy of 2024. From trillions in revenue to the rise of AI and ever smarter monetization, it's clear that the apps on our phones are more than just convenient tools. They're at the heart of a massive global economic engine. What app trends are you most excited or surprised by? Let us know. Thanks for tuning in to G Fun Facts Online. Join us next time for more fascinating insights into the world around us. Until then, stay curious.